So friends, let's start our session. Welcome to the second session of Selenium with Java. Yesterday's session was a very quick orientation where we just talked about the comparison of Selenium with other popular tools in the market, QTP, etc. We have also discussed about the course content, what we will be actually covering as we go with our 6 weeks of sessions. Now today we'll start off with the very first component of Selenium, friends, which is called IDE. Now please understand, whenever I say Selenium, Selenium is not just one tool. Selenium is actually a combination of multiple tools. You actually call it as a Selenium suite. Okay, suite is nothing but a suite or suite, whatever. Okay, some people call it as suite, some people call it as suite, whatever. It's just a combination of multiple tools. Now what are those tools? The very first tool of Selenium is called as IDE. What is the full form of IDE? Integrated Development Environment. To make it simple, IDE, don't take notes, I'll give notes, okay? Just try to understand. IDE is just a record and playback tool of Selenium. It does not require any programming knowledge. We'll actually start off with this very shortly. And there was a tool of Selenium which was called as RC. RC actually stands for Remote Control, which has been officially deprecated. What is the meaning of deprecated? The Selenium community back in 2012 itself said that RC further we are not actually extending it. So organizations, please stop using RC. In the place of RC, we have released a more powerful tool which is called as WebDriver. 2012 it has been deprecated. How many years, friends? 5 years. So currently, as far as I know, you can't imagine any organization still using Selenium RC. Okay. Only in Amirpet you will find trainers teaching RC because they learned RC, so they are teaching only RC. But no organization would be using RC at this point of time. So there's no point in wasting your time learning RC. Our core concentration will be on learning Selenium WebDriver. Okay, and after WebDriver we will be learning Selenium Grid. Selenium Grid is used for running your Selenium program on different browsers and different operating systems. So these can be said as these are the core components of Selenium. Now, Selenium WebDriver, it's something like this. See, Selenium, as I was telling you, is a combination of multiple tools. The very first tool is IDE. Then they have come up with RC. RC was also called as Selenium 1. They used to call it as Selenium 1. After a few days, they have released, after a few years, they have released WebDriver, and this WebDriver was merged with Selenium 1, and they released a product which is called as Selenium 2. Now, in our sessions, we are going to learn Selenium 2. Selenium 2 is nothing but actually a combination of WebDriver and also RC. And of course, I was talking about Selenium Grid, fine. Very recently, a few months back, the Selenium community has released the latest version called Selenium 3. Some more additional features they have put on Selenium 2, and they have released Selenium 3. So what is Selenium 3? What are the new features that have been introduced in 3? That also we'll try to understand. Okay. But as for now, for today's session, what we are going to learn is what? IDE. That is what we are actually going to cover in today's session. Okay. Now, IDE, listen carefully, stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay, and it is a record and playback tool of Selenium. Okay, when I say record and playback tool of Selenium, because some of you are coming from QTP background, probably you are aware that in QTP you have a record button. You just put that in recording mode. Whatever activities you are doing on the application, it records all those activities and it generates a automation program, right? So similarly in Selenium also we have a record and playback tool which is called IDE. But the only problem with IDE is it works on Firefox browser. Remember yesterday we said that Selenium can do testing on any browser. It can work on any browser, but today we are actually changing that. It works only on the Firefox browser. When I say it works only on the Firefox browser, what I mean is, I don't mean to say that you can run the programs only on Firefox. what I'm actually trying to tell is, though the program can be created only on Firefox, we can run it on other tools. So as you can see on my screen, IDE is a record and playback tool of Selenium. It does not require any programming knowledge, and in fact it's not a separate software. It is simply a add-on for your Firefox browser. Ante you already have your Firefox browser. On the Firefox browser, IDE will simply get installed as a add-on. Okay, it records only on Firefox browser, but it can be executed on other browsers. I again and again, most people think that IDE can run only on Firefox. No, recording can be done only on Firefox, but once that recording is done, that program can be executed on Chrome, IE and other browsers also. We'll actually experimentally see all that stuff, but please understand, IDE is just a add-on for Firefox. So if you want to install IDE, first of all we should have what on your machine? We should have Firefox installed on our machine. Okay, so I think I already have Firefox installed on my machine. Let me close this. Just watch over here. Do we have Firefox browser installed? Yes. So to install IDE, you first launch Firefox browser and then you navigate to a site, seleniumhq.org. Seleniumhq.org is our official site. Now, before actually downloading IDE, I have a quick question for everyone. What is the meaning of that word Selenium?
It is powerful than Mercury.
It's powerful than Mercury. Why do we need something powerful than Mercury? It's an antidote for Mercury. Probably you have already heard about it. See, Selenium actually came into market way back in 2003. At that time, the only prime competitor of Selenium was QTP. QTP, probably you are aware that it's a product of HP. Though it's a product of HP, it was created by an organization called Mercury Interactive. In 2006, HP has taken over Mercury Interactive, so currently we are calling it as Mercury QTP, but originally it was called as a Mercury tool in 2003. Now, Selenium, I'm not talking about tool. Selenium, probably you might have heard, it's a name of an element in your periodic table. Remember your school days, chemistry periodic table. In the periodic table, we had different elements. Selenium is a element, excuse me. Selenium is an element in your periodic table. Even Mercury is an element in your periodic table. Mercury is not just an element. Probably everyone knows Mercury is the only liquid metal, right? Mercury is a liquid metal, and if someone takes mercury, he'll die, right? Now, if someone takes mercury accidentally, the antidote that your doctor will give is selenium. You're understanding? So when the people who created selenium, when they were creating that selenium, at that time itself, their intention was to eradicate this mercury tool. So that's how the name came, and for some reason it became true also. Okay, fine. Anyhow, so friends, it's for both online and classroom. Anyone has any questions, you can directly either chat ping through the chat, or you can talk to me directly. So friends, seleniumhq.org, this is our official site, and in this site you click on downloads. Now when you click on downloads, and if you navigate a little down on this page, little down, yes, you will find Selenium IDE. Now just read out what he's saying. IDE is a Firefox plugin which records and plays back user interactions with the browser. Simple, as simple as that. IDE is a plugin for the Firefox browser which records and plays back. It just records whatever activities you are doing on the Firefox browser. Now, in order to install IDE, all that you have to do is launch this application on the Firefox browser and then click on this link. Within a minute it will get installed. Just click on add to Firefox. I'll give all these navigations, notes, everything. Please just concentrate and try to understand. It's asking me to install, and now it's asking me to restart my browser. You will see that once the Firefox browser is restarted, if you go into your tools menu, do we have Selenium IDE installed over there? I hope everyone is understanding. So IDE is not a separate software. It is just an add-on for your Firefox browser. Now let me launch my IDE and show you. See, when I launch my IDE, all of you can see on the right hand corner, there is a record button. Currently it's on recording mode. You can actually stop it also. Now, if you place it on recording mode, once it is placed on recording mode, whatever activities we do manually, all those activities will be recorded. All the activities that you are doing on the Firefox browser will be recorded. See, I'll tell you a scenario. You want to test the Gmail functionality, the complete Gmail page. How do you do it? You enter your username, password, click on the sign in button, check whether the login functionality is working or not. Similarly, compose, so inbox, so sent mail, everything we operate manually and we check whether they are working or not. Now what IDE will do is, one time you do the testing manually, whatever you are doing manually, IDE will remember all those things. It will record all those things. It will create an automation program. Any number of times you want to do regression testing, you can use it. You're understanding? One time we are doing manual testing, remaining times onwards, IDE will automatically take up that program and it will do the testing. So see, I am putting my tool on recording mode. I'll actually show you a simple automation test case that I would like to show you for today. See this. I have an Excel file where I stored some simple automation test cases. As you can see on my screen, this is the steps. These are the steps that I would like to automate. The first step says that you launch the Firefox browser, then you navigate to Yahoo Mail site. You enter the username, click on the next button, enter password, and finally click on the login button. So it's a very simple program for testing the login functionality. We just want to do that. Now, the first step says launch Firefox. Do we have Firefox already opened on our machine? Yes. Now, let's do the second step. What is the second step, friends? Navigate to Yahoo Mail. See, ensure that your tool is on recording mode. Okay. Now, manually you perform the activities. The first thing that we would like to do is navigate to Yahoo Mail. Now, my test case is saying, okay, after logging in, after opening Yahoo Mail page, you enter your username and click on the next button. So I will enter my username. This is my username. I enter that and then click on the next button. Now, after clicking on the next button, my test case is saying you enter the password and click on the login button. So again, just repeat those steps. Password. Now, intentionally, I am giving an invalid password because everyone will be able to see my password. I'm not giving it, but if you give a valid password, it will log in. So we are giving a password and then click on the sign in button. Finish. Because it is invalid password, are we able to log in? No. Okay, fine. Doesn't matter. Now, if you go to your IDE, do you see that IDE has actually generated some automation program? We did not do any coding. Probably IDE is the most simplest tool of Selenium because it does not require any programming knowledge. All that it requires is you need to understand the flow of what you have to do on the application. Let us say you are testing Facebook. On Facebook, what I am supposed to test, if that clarity is there, we can work on IDE. Okay. Now let me stop the recording and let me save this program. I will click on File, click on Save Test Case. On the desktop, I will call it as Yahoo Login. Any meaningful name you give doesn't matter. Now, by default, these programs will be saved in the HTML format. We'll talk about that a little later, but please watch. Please watch. What I'll do is I'll move away from the Yahoo page. I'll move to some Google page or something else. And now let me run the program. How do you run the IDE program? Do you see on the top there is a button called Play Current Test Case? If you click on it, whatever program got generated, automatically the complete program will be executed. Please watch what happens. You will see that it will navigate to Yahoo. Something went wrong. It should start off immediately. Okay, fine. Maybe the browser version might not be supporting it. Just wait. We'll try to launch a Firefox browser one more time. This should not happen actually, but anyhow. Let me run the program again. No, it's not even navigating to whatever page we are expecting. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. What could be the reason? Just a second. Maybe my browser, it's 45. It should work. It is 45. It should work at any cost.
Browser launching is not.
Yeah, browser launching it won't do, but manually we have launched the browser, right? It should navigate to that page. Navigating to the page itself is not happening. See, opening the URL is not happening. Is it some problem with Yahoo Mail page? I don't know. I don't know. Fine, doesn't matter. We'll try the same thing on some other page. Don't worry. Just let me show you on another page. We'll find out very quickly whether it's the issue with Yahoo Mail page itself. Maybe. I have seen this happen a few times, but I did not expect it will happen now. So I'll try to do the login on the Orange HRM demo page. Wait, where do you have the Orange HRM demo page? No, that's not the one. You have something called live.orangehrm.com. These are, yeah, this is the one. Sorry. So on this page, we'll try to do a recording. Check once. Maybe it's a problem with, I'll create a new test case. We'll put our tool on recording mode. Now let's start. We are navigating to the Orange HRM site. The default username everyone can see on my screen, friends. What is the default username? Admin, and the password is admin. So you just enter those details. Admin, and the password is also admin. Finally click on the sign in button. So I am expecting some program to be generated. Let's stop the program. Let's run the program and see. No.
On URL target slash.
That's true. Target URL represents target whenever you have forward slash. It represents. Oh. I'm sorry. It was my mistake. Let me tell you. What I have done is, remember, I told you in the beginning part of today's session that those Selenium programs can be created only on Firefox browser. They can be executed on Chrome and other browsers. In the previous session, వారేమో అనుకున్నా మన ఫ్రెండ్స్ వస్తే మంచి ఆనందంగా ఉంటారు కదా. Don't worry, everyone will come. Just settle down and concentrate on what I'm teaching. Friends, it was my mistake. What I have done is, in the previous batch when I was taking the same IDE session, I told you that Selenium programs, though you are creating on Firefox, they can be executed on other browsers. So I was actually showing that concept and I made the changes so that it will run on the Chrome browser. If I have to make those changes on your machine. This will not happen. I'm sorry, it was my mistake. Just go to WebDriver. Do you see? I made it as Chrome. By default, it will be actually Firefox on your machine. I made the changes. So now you might ask, then why it's not running on Chrome? To run on Chrome, you have to fire another command from the command prompt. Okay, don't worry about all that. But now my program will work. Okay, so let's click on the play button. Oh. Whenever we make any changes, I think we have to restart our IDE. So let's close IDE. I'll not save it. Okay, just close IDE and let us launch IDE. Sorry, it was purely my mistake. You will not face this problem. Click on Tools, click on Selenium IDE. I think we have saved a program, Yahoo Mail. See, this is the Yahoo login program. So do you want to replace it? Wait, something else has come. Okay, let me re-record the program, put the tool on recording mode. Let's start from the beginning. We are opening the Yahoo Mail page. Of course, we are entering our username, clicking on the next button. You enter a password. In this case, I'm giving an invalid password, and the program got generated. Now, once the program is generated, only to make it understandable, intentionally I'm changing it. Currently, what is the page opened on my machine? You see, it's Google. Now let's run the program and see whether it is navigating to Yahoo Mail or not. Are we navigating to Yahoo Mail? Now entering my username. Is it clicking on next, entering my password, and clicking on the sign in button? I hope you are understanding. See, it's a very simple concept, friends. I just got sidetracked because of some other settings that I have done on IDE. When you install IDE, you don't face this problem. All that you're supposed to do is manually you perform whatever automation you want to do one time. Just test that application one time manually. The remaining things will be taken care of. Okay. Similarly, I just want to show you the orange HRM also. All pages will work, nothing to worry. So I'll create a new test case. Which button we should click on? Record button. Place it on recording mode. Now which site we are navigating to? Orange HRM, open source.orange HRM live. So remember, your IDE is recording all these activities. Oh, it's already logged in. We have to test the, so wait, just a second. I'll delete these steps. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, now putting the tool on recording mode, the first thing we are doing is we are launching the application. What is the username for this site? Admin. What is the password for this site? Admin. Click on the login button. Are we having some program generated here? Stop the recording, and if you want to run the program, all that you have to do is launch your IDE, and in IDE you click on play current test case. Please watch. Launch my application. Is it entering my username, password, clicking on the sign in button? You're understanding, right? So by default, it runs on Firefox browser. We do not require any programming knowledge. Automatically, the automation program is created. Okay. Now, please watch. Please watch. We'll see some interesting concepts related to IDE now. If you look at the IDE the software which is installed, there are two sections primarily. One is called as a table and other one is called as source. Table is again divided into three sections. One is command, target and value. Command will contain the list of Selenium commands. The commands that you see over there, those are called as Selenium commands. They have been created using a scripting language called JavaScript. Java Kadu, it's not Java. They are commands which have been created using JavaScript. So what are the commands? Where the commands are executed and with what data the command is executed, my username, my password and all that stuff. Now apart from that, if you go to the source section, you can actually see the code. What is this language, friends? HTML, which means by default IDE is generating the program in HTML. Okay, that is the default language. QTP background people, tell me what is the default language of QTP? VB script. In QTP, the programs are generated in VB script, whereas in Selenium, the default language in IDE is HTML. How many of you know HTML? Now, we have very few people who are raising their hands, which means the other people who don't know HTML cannot understand the syntax of this program, right? But this is the beauty of IDE. Though the program by default is generated in HTML, it can be converted into other languages. Like how to do that? Just click on options and then click on options. You will see on the right hand side, we have a checkbox, enable experimental features. Just place it on checked position and then click on OK. Now watch, if I click on options and when I go into format, do you see? These are the different languages that IDE supports. The default language is HTML, but it can be converted into C#, it can be converted into Java or Python or Ruby. Now because you people know Java, or at least you will learn Java by the end of these sessions, I'll convert my code into Java. Do you see the HTML code got converted into Java code? You're understanding? In QTP, the program is automatically generated in VB script. It will remain only on VB script. In IDE, Selenium IDE, the default programming language is HTML, but that HTML program can be converted into so many different languages, which means if I don't understand HTML and I understand Java, I'm converting into Java. Similarly, if someone knows C#, they can convert into C#, etc., etc. You understand? The default language, you're able to, yeah.
Hi, Naveen here. I have a question to ask.
Tell me, Naveen.
So if I copy this code and if I paste in Eclipse, can I able to run it and can I able to execute the same code? Or do I have to do any modification?
You know what Naveen is asking? Naveen is asking, can we copy this Java code and paste it in my WebDriver program? First session I should not tell these things, Naveen. We'll call it as cheating. So we'll wait.
Sure.
Because if I tell these things, all my students will think there is no point in learning Selenium. Why should we pay fees to this fellow? Happily it's recording, copy and paste it. Yes, there are scenarios where we use that kind of stuff also. You will find in some places where your automation program, WebDriver program does not work. So we'll record it, convert, and then paste it in Eclipse. That's a valid point, but no, this is first session. We should never discuss that. Okay. So fine, friends. This is a very basic introduction to IDE. Now, probably those of you who are attending the session online might feel what I am doing currently as a little wastage of time, but I would insist on doing that. That is taking notes. Okay. Don't simply depend on listening to my session. No one can remember, and don't depend on the recordings. Always depend on the notes also, because unknowingly in the process of taking the notes itself, subconsciously you'll record all this. I'll tell you, most of the times when we go for corporate trainings, here in Amirpet, students listen to whatever I say. I say take notes, they'll take notes. But there, when I go to Madhapur and give corporate trainings in any of those companies, they will say, no notes taking. We won't take notes. You tell, we'll just sit and listen. So I stand like this, I deliver the class, and those people will be sitting like this and listening. First day, second day, third day, everything is okay. Everyone can understand. Slowly after fifth day or sixth day, because they are not taking the notes, they'll say, you send the programs, we'll practice. No one will practice. People who are free throughout the day, you people are not practicing. How will those people practice? So obviously they won't practice. 5 days, 10 days tarvata, then they will clearly understand the mistake they have done. But it's too late. It's too late. So, I know, though I repeatedly say, please practice, you people will do what you have decided to do. You won't practice. At least in the process of taking the notes, though it's a wastage of time for me also. See, if you don't take notes of the programs, actually I can wind up the sessions within 30 days. Unnecessarily, there's no point in spending 2 months. But why I'm spending so much time is, at least after 2 months, you will say, okay, that fellow said so many things. At least 60 or 70% I understood. Otherwise, you'll say 0%. Selenium is not for us. We did not understand anything. So please take down the notes. Put the heading as Selenium IDE. Friends, it's for both online and classroom. Please take down the notes. Put the heading as Selenium IDE and just take down Selenium IDE. Tell me. IDE is a record and playback tool of Selenium. IDE is a record and playback tool of Selenium, which is an add-on, for the Firefox browser. Next, put the heading as installing IDE. If you feel I'm going fast, you can actually look at my screen. I'll send you this notes also to everyone, okay? But still take down the notes. Don't depend on, okay? Installing IDE. How do you install IDE, friends? What is the first step you're supposed to do? Launch which browser? You are launching Firefox browser. Second, what is the site we are opening? seleniumhq.org. And third one, you click on download tab. There is a download tab on that page. Just click on that download tab. Go to Selenium IDE section or Selenium IDE path. Download the latest version. Download the latest version. Okay. Next, continue. IDE gets installed. IDE gets installed as an add-on under the Tools menu of Firefox. One more time I will show you. See, what we have done is, on the Firefox browser, we have navigated to our site seleniumhq.org. Selenium, ఆ పేరులోనే ఒక వైబ్రేషన్ ఉంది కదా. seleniumhq.org. then you click on the download tab. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so IDE gets installed as an add-on under the tools menu of the Firefox browser. Once it is installed, to look at IDE, all you have to do is just click on tools menu and then click on Selenium IDE. Okay, now whatever we have seen in today's session, everything I want to give as a notes. IDE gets installed as an add-on under the tools menu. Next, what are the two sections that you find in IDE, friends? Table and source. Okay, so take down. IDE is divided into two sections. The first one is table. The second one is what? Source. Table is divided into three parts. What are the three sections that you find in tables? Just watch. Table contains how many sections? Three. Command, target and value. Okay, so take down. Table is divided into three parts. Command, target and value. Command, target and value. Okay, continue. Command contains the list of Selenium commands. See, that is the word, SELENES. Command contains the list of Selenium commands generated during recording. Command contains the list of Selenium commands generated during recording. Target specifies where these commands are executed. Value specifies with what data these commands are executed. So three sections are there. Command is simply telling you what are the commands which are generated during recording. Target is telling you where the commands are executed. Value is telling you what is the data with which it's working. Okay. The next one, the source section contains the HTML code generated during recording. The source section contains the HTML code generated during recording. This HTML code can be converted into other languages through the following navigations. The HTML code can be converted into other languages through the following navigations. Remember, what are the navigations? Click on options and then again click on options. Then you just check whether it is enabled or not. Click on OK. Then again click on options, click on format and select whichever language you want. Okay. So just take down through the following navigations. What are those navigations? Click on options. Again click on options. The next one is check enable experimental features. Check enable experimental features. Just write how I am writing on the screen. Click on OK. Check enable experimental features. Click on OK. One more time you click on options. Now you click on format convert it into whichever language we want. Convert it into whichever language we want. Convert it into whichever language we want. Can someone tell me what are the drawbacks that you have seen in IDE? We'll stop the session with the very basic stuff, but what are the disadvantages or drawbacks that you might have seen in IDE?
We show the password.
Very big problem. It is showing my password, right? That is the reason I gave an invalid password. Otherwise, all of you, me andariki telisipodina password. So one thing is it's displaying the password. What is the next disadvantage? Conditional statements. You know what are conditional statements? See, when you're testing something, isn't it true that testing can always happen based on conditions? Like, if a link is working, I want to do one set of activities. If it's not working, I want to do another set of activities. We call it as conditional statements, or in programming language, when you're speaking, we generally call it as a if condition. If a condition is true, you do this activity, otherwise you do something else. This kind of conditional statements cannot be done in IDE. IDE simply goes in a linear format. Linear ante step by step, step by step. You can't put conditions saying that if this is true, you do this set of steps, otherwise you do another set of steps. Similarly, it does not support loops. What are loops, friends? Repetitively, I want to do the same testing again and again. If you actually look at my IDE program, you can see that IDE is working on a username. What is the username? Admin, and it's working on another password called admin. Now just imagine a scenario where I have an Excel file, and in the Excel file I have different usernames. This is my first username, this is my first password, similarly another username I have. In this way I want my program to test with first username and password, then it should test with, we call it as parameterization. You are sending test data from an external location. Now this kind of programming cannot be done in IDE. IDE simply works on one set of test data. If you have 100 usernames and 100 passwords on which you want to test, this program has to be generated how many times? 100 times. Do you think that is common sense? Because if you look at the code, you understand that this program will never change. Only thing that is changing is username and password. So there should be some way to parameterize the data. Now these features are not present in IDE. See, the IDE that I have taken up in today's session is just serving as an introduction for Selenium. This is not Selenium. It is Selenium kane kaadu. Cinema start avaledu. Cinema titles kuda kavivi. Cinema munde advertisements vastayi kada manaki. These are advertisements. Smoking is injurious to health. Dhumapanamu, Majjapanamu, Arogyaniki Hanikaram. 15 minutes tintaru kada manalni. Once you go into the show, the same thing is happening. The actual part of the course starts with Java and Selenium. Okay, so this is just an introduction. When you are actually looking for a job on Selenium, generally they don't ask any questions on IDE. Okay, it comes very rarely. That was the question which Naveen was asking. In those scenarios we use it, but I don't want to talk about it now. As of now, it's just an introduction for Selenium. It's good if you say, okay, I know IDE. The actual drama starts from Java and WebDriver. Okay, now I'll actually stop the session for today. We'll discuss some more merits and demerits of IDE in tomorrow's session. But if you have any questions, you can ask me. Online and classroom, everyone can ask a question.
So I have a question to ask.
Tell me, Naveen. Yeah.
The same way, like we are having IDE, right?
Yeah.
The same way, are we having any other tool for other browsers like IE or Chrome?
No, we don't.
Why for Firefox got this option?
See, I'll tell you, actually IDE is not directly a product of Selenium. It was created by some Japanese, I don't remember his name. That person created a tool for running the programs, for recording the programs on the Firefox browser. Why he has done it? Maybe he was in love with Firefox, I don't know. But for some reason he created a tool called IDE, which was designed to work on Firefox. Later, he donated that tool to the Selenium community. So we are calling it a Selenium IDE. Now, if you are asking me, can we do the same automated testing on Chrome and IE through recording? Yes, we can do that. That's what we are saying. But recording cannot be done on other browsers. IDE was a tool which was donated by someone to the Selenium community, and that person, when he created it, maybe his requirement was to work mainly on Firefox, so he created it in such a way that it will work on Firefox. The Selenium community has taken up that IDE, they have made some modifications. Though the recording is still done on the Firefox, we can do the testing on Chrome and other browsers as well, which probably we'll see in tomorrow's session.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Firefox విషయంలో partiality ఎందుకు? That is the question.
Yes.
Microsoft competitors, yeah, there can be many reasons for that. Many reasons for that. And you know, unfortunately, personally speaking, I never use the IE browser. How many of you use IE browsers? Other than in your organization, maybe in your organization you might be using IE for doing the testing. But in our day-to-day activities, do we ever open IE browser? We always Chrome or maybe Safari or something else. In fact, there's a joke, you know. How, you know, in Windows we can actually hide our folders. You create a folder, you can hide the folder. The joke was saying, if you want to hide a folder in Windows, what you do is simply create a folder, you put all your secret documents, whatever you don't want people to see. Once that is created, icons have some shape, right? You change the icon shape as IE. No one will touch it. You are understanding? Change the icon shape as IE, no one will touch it. But unfortunately, in your regular testing activities, IE plays a very, very important role. Jokes apart, IE has to be automated, okay? And the major challenge on Selenium comes when you are automating IE. Working on other browsers is very simple, but we will actually practically see how to do that also, okay? You know, I actually worked for a client called Blackboard at one point of time, where we used to do the automation only on IE browser. Our application was designed only for working on IE. If you open it on Firefox or Chrome, it doesn't even open properly. So the program has to be designed on IE browser, testing has to be done on IE browser. So this kind of scenarios happen a lot. So how to handle them, everything also we'll see. But anyhow, so no questions from my classroom students also? Brilliant, brilliant. So we'll stop the session for today, friends. We